Johnny Chen is the champion of the 18th Annual World Series.
Wins the championship.
Winning hand for Stu Unger, the world champion of poker.
For 34 years, only one event has defined poker greatness. And even now, with poker's popularity reaching unprecedented heights, it remains the one event that guarantees poker immortality.
The winner of this tournament is the world champion.
We did it, man!
This event is the one event you want to win. You're called a world champion the rest of your life.
This is the tournament. This is it.
This year, the tournament's field has exploded with record-setting numbers. Nearly 2,600 players.
Jeez, I'm shaking.
$5 million to the winner. The largest field in poker history.
Oh, I don't have to do no more now.
The largest prize in sports or television history.
Yes! I go!
This is the main event of the World Series of Poker.
This is the greatest tournament in the world.
Welcome to the main event of the World Series of Poker, presented by Miller High Life. The Horseshoe Casino is at maximum capacity with a field that is almost 2,600 strong, 3 times the amount of players that competed in last year's main event. We're all looking to take home that $5 million first prize.
This is the only place to be.
The turnout has been so tremendous that organizers have actually had to split the opening field into 2 heats playing over 2 days. Hello everybody, I'm Lon McCarron alongside Norman Chad. You know, it's amazing to reflect that when this World Series tournament format started 33 years ago, there were just 6 entries. Now, as we stand here today, almost 2,600 people are poised to take their shot at riches and glory. But the name among all names, no doubt, is our defending champion, Chris Moneymaker.
Indeed, Lon, Chris Moneymaker is the reason nearly 2,600 people are here. And now, to prove he wasn't a fluke last year, all he has to do is beat nearly 2,600 people to repeat as champion. Good luck.
And here comes the man himself, Chris Moneymaker, making his way to his first table.
Day 1, seat 1. You're sitting right next to Chris Moneymaker. Okay, congratulations. Good to hear. He's in seat number 2. Okay.
And like a heavyweight champion, Moneymaker makes his way in with his entourage being his father.
Trying to become the first poker player since Johnny Chan in '87 and '88 to repeat as World Series champion.
Dude, good luck, Chris.
Last year, we called him dead money. Now he's got $2.5 million worth of money.
Congratulations winning last year.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Very good time.
$5 million to first place. That's what you guys are all playing for. At this time, all dealers, please shuffle up and deal. Good luck.
Is there another Chris Moneymaker out there in the field, or will Chris be able to successfully defend his World Series of Poker title? Because of the size of the field, we have 10 players at each table instead of the normal 9, including our featured table. And one of the biggest names of the game is here, Nguyen, the master with 6 World Series bracelets. And he is playing alongside John Hennigan. He has 2 bracelets. He just won his second one this year. And as is the nature of the game, you have newbies playing with the stars. Dean Hines in his first World Series of Poker. And a first look at the Miller High Life Pocket Cam, a suited King Deuce.
And you see the blinds are at 25 and 50 in Hold'em. 2 players are already into the pot at the beginning of every hand. And the blinds shift to the left with each new deal.
Matt Hagan, another newbie with a suited Queen 6.
You're gonna raise.
Showing some moxie to the seasoned veteran, Nguyen the master.
I want to race, but you told me not to race, okay? I'll be nice.
Men was in the big blind. He could have raised, but with those cards, he'll just check.
And here's our flop, and Hagan, welcome to the World Series, 2 queens.
Hines with an inside straight draw. Everybody checks.
And another queen for Hagan.
Okay. You get all the free call for you there.
Hagan checking that almost like a pro.
Now the river card 5 of clubs, Hagan's best with 3 queens.
Take a good look again.
I need to.
You don't remember? There's only 2 cards there.
Change, don't they?
It won't change.
At 200.
Oh. You hit the 5 in the river, huh?
That's why I checked again, right?
I know that. I had a 5 too.
And Nguyen the master kicks it in. Hagan takes the hand.
Oh, you had a queen.
You know how I do it. That was my amateur move, man. I move furniture, man, for a living. You know that? Now I'm sitting next to you. It's a chance of a lifetime. You know what I'm saying?
You only buying 10,000 to sit next to Man the Master.
If I would have known it was you here, I would have paid 200,000.
And of course, here at event number 33, the main event, it is a no-limit event. And there's a gallery already watching the defending champion, Chris Moneymaker.
And what a tough spot for him. Expectations are unrealistic. He's got people over his shoulder watching his every move. Incredible amount of media requests. He hasn't done that well at the previous tournaments here. It's just tough to do well in this environment.
Oh, this is the most difficult poker event to win in the world, made even more so with triple the field. But right now, Chris Moneymaker wins a nice pot on the outer tables, collects his chips, trying to collect some momentum and get back to the final table. Here at our feature table, Dean Hines, 39 years old from Georgia, owner of a garage door business, looking at an unsuited Queen Jack. Go. Top player in his first World Series, as is Gregory Sauka with an ace-7, couple of spades. To Men the Master.
Who is in the big blind right now with King-8 offsuit. And he'll elect to see the flop for free. He just checks.
And here is the flop. Nguyen gets tripped kings. Wow.
And he'll go sly and try to slow play them and see if the other players can build a pot. Everyone checks.
And you see the check mark now next to Men the Master's name. He's got a lock on the hand as long as he doesn't fold. Everybody checks to the river. It's a 6. Men improves to a full house, and he'll bet 200. Over to Dean Hines,
who will call with the queens. And now Sauka, whose favorite player is Phil Hellmuth. I think Hellmuth would have thrown this away a little quicker than Sauka's going to throw it away.
I'll call.
Oh, he calls.
And Men turns over his cards. Everybody sees his kings full, and Men wins the hand.
Very nice.
The Master teaching everybody a lesson here.
Nice flop.
The World Series of Poker is brought to you by Milwaukee's Best Light. Milwaukee's Best Light, brewed for a man's taste. And in part by Levitra. Ask your doctor about it today. Levitra, when it counts. And Harris Entertainment.
Watch out. I'm giving my wife a
Get off your knee.
Well, they say all you need to win this tournament is a chip and a chair.
Will you bring me a soda now?
This year, with the record number of players, it looks like the chip part's easy. The chair part is what they're having trouble with, Norm.
Lon, you could give him your chair, huh?
No. And it is so crowded, the fans lining up outside to watch 9-time bracelet winner Johnny Chan.
The last to repeat at the World Series in 1988, and since then, let me tell you how tough this is. We have had 15 different winners in 15 years.
Doyle Brunson also with 9 bracelets. Never looks happy, does he?
No, but hey, when Doyle started playing this game, the earth was still flat. He has seen it all.
He's pushing the people around at his table right now. And he wins that hand. Phil Hellmuth is supposed to be here.
Well, his tradition is to always show up late to this event. I've suggested he show up even later than he does. We'll see him sooner or later.
Back at our feature table, action already underway. Patrick Naughton has a couple of jacks. He has gone all in, waiting for Jack Arnold with 2 queens to act.
I call.
And with that call, Arnold actually is the one all in.
And an overwhelming favorite, only an ace or a jack would knock him out.
That's a tough call.
It's not that tough, but it's easy to
Come on, ace. Big ace, big ace.
Here comes the turn. It is an ace.
Ace jack's beautiful, man. Ace jack's beautiful.
Patrick Naughton wins the hand.
God.
And Jack Arnold,
My God.
35 years old from Tulsa, Oklahoma, is eliminated and numb.
Doesn't he have to leave? Yeah, he's got to leave.
He will leave. He doesn't want to.
I'll take it. I'm not proud. Yeah, I'm not proud. I'll take them anywhere they come.
Matt Hagan, another first-timer, knows full well you don't worry about how the chips come your way.
With that class, you look like a moneymaker. Chris Moneymaker.
Who's that?
The guy who owns that.
Where's he been since? Is he here?
Of course, Chris Moneymaker is here. He's on the outer tables, as we've seen, and quite a fan club gathered around him, pretty much the way his life has been since he won the main event last year. Chris Moneymaker eliminates Sam Farhall.
I had a better chance to win the lottery to win this event.
This is beyond fairy tale. It's inconceivable.
One guy told me, it's like, your life will never be the same. I said, man, what? I won a poker tournament. No, I won the poker tournament.
Could you spare me 5 minutes to ask you 1 or 2 questions?
I'd be interested in hearing your opinions on some things about high-stakes poker.
Do you have a strategy when you go in? The man himself, Chris Moneymaker.
People started recognizing me. I could not go anywhere without, giving signatures, and 8-year-olds are shaking to meet me. There are like 15 phone calls coming in, like all these weird numbers I've never seen before. Obviously, repeating is just phenomenally hard. But my game's got a lot better, and I'm confident that I'll do well.
Moneymaker said last year in the early stages of the main event, he was intimidated by the big players around the table. Can he now take on that role, Norm?
Sure, and actually he's gone from being the hunter to the hunted, and he can try to intimidate the others, but a lot of people are after him, and that's a tough place to be.
And Chris has played the role so well over the last 12 months all around the country. And here again, taking a pot, earning some chips, trying to get his way back to the championship table. Meanwhile, back at our featured table, the blinds are now 50 and 100, and they will be increased throughout the tournament to force the action.
We still have Men the Master and Johnny World, and then a bunch of guys in off the poker bus.
And one of those, Matt Hagan from Lakewood, Ohio, 25 years old. Looking at a couple of kings. And Hagan reaching for chips, he'll bet 300.
Johnny World folds, and he's wondering, who are these guys? These guys are just a bunch of internet qualifiers. Some of them are husbands, some are boyfriends, some are smart enough not to be a husband or a boyfriend.
Justin Clark with his 8-7 and the small blind will call it. Over to Michael Bro. 2 jacks. And he'll raise it, 2,000. It's a big move at this stage of the tournament.
You both love and hate the C-jacks. It's a very good hand, but it can run into a lot of trouble, and this time it's run into kings.
And Hagan will call it and raise to go all in.
Indeed he does. And actually he's stood up before he's gotten a call from Bro. You usually don't stand up when you're all in until the other guy calls. You gotta learn that on the bus.
Justin Clark folded his 8-7. Bro now does make the call with his pair of jacks.
Nice hand.
And Hagan a big advantage right now with the kings.
It's like a third base coach.
And here comes the flop. Queen, 2 and 10. Hagan still with a big, big lead.
He's in the coach's box.
A 10 on the turn.
Come shooter, come shooter.
Bro needs a jack, and the river card's in 8, and Hagan wins the hand again.
They say he looks like Moneymaker. He even fist pumps like Moneymaker.
Well, this 25-year-old moves furniture for a living.
Thanks. Good hand, bro.
And now he's moved a lot of Michael Bro's chips over into his own stack.
You gotta teach me how to play that hand.
First time ever to Vegas.
Yeah.
Started playing 4 days ago.
It looks like this newbie's been playing non-stop for 4 days.
Sounds like a Chris Moneymaker story.
Gotta win.
The World Series of Poker presented by Miller High Life. Main event.
Back at the Horseshoe, and Men the Master taking some time to sign some autographs.
Who's this one? You?
Yeah, right here. Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Nice hand, sir.
All right. Hey, thank you.
And Men will stay over at the rail, sit this hand out.
Yeah, can Barry Bonds do that in the 6th inning of a Giants game?
Barry Bonds doesn't do that anytime, I don't think. Matt Hagan with a couple of jacks, he'll bet 100, and Men wins cards are folded by Johnny World Hennigan. And Hennigan with a couple of aces, and he'll raise it.
And those tricky jacks that Hagan beat earlier today, he now has to play. And he is up against the pocket aces.
Everyone else folds over to Hagan.
I'm gonna raise.
Is he sure?
All in.
He'll go all in.
He's sure, and Johnny World is sure he's calling.
And the pot over 32,000 chips. And now the aces are turned over, and Hagan sees what he's up against.
And Hagan has Hennigan covered, so it is now Johnny World who's actually all in.
And here comes the flop, queen 5-5. Hennigan's ace is still good.
And Hagen's going to be looking for a jack. And right now trying to chew his way out of this hand.
And the turn card's a 9.
And now a jack and jack only will knock Johnny Hennigan out of this main event.
The river card is a 10, and Hennigan is safe. Matt Hagen takes a big, big loss.
Yeah, those were most of his chips.
Matt Hagen's beginner's luck may be running out. He's left with about 3,600 chips right now after that loss to Johnny World.
Nice hand.
Hagen running into a professional roadblock.
Nice hand. Play like that all day. It's take the amateur's money.
Hagen had a nice little rush going, but reality's setting in. And the man has decided to play poker. Phil Hellmuth is in the room.
Yeah, traffic must have been bad, but his usual late arrival. There had to be another way in, Lon.
Nothing would have grabbed as much attention as that. Looking for the table he's supposed to be at.
Actually appears to be looking for people to acknowledge his presence in the room.
And they have done that indeed. And Phil finds the empty chair that belongs to him. He'll be the first to say he's got the poker brat reputation. Well, he's trying to change that this year.
Hello, boys. Good luck today.
We'll see how long that lasts.
My image as a player is poker brat.
Nice hand, buddy.
How can I fold? I guess I'm kind of like the John McEnroe of poker.
Buddy, have you won any hands in that seat yet?
I've been known to berate people sometimes when they beat me. They misunderstand the game so badly. You know, I snap over the edge a little bit, and it's it's something that I've worked on, and now I'm starting to get a reputation as a gentleman of poker.
Phil Hellmuth is the most interesting psychological case study you could ever do because it's the mentality of a 9-year-old boy in the body of a 6'7" man who has 9 World Series of Poker bracelets.
If there weren't luck involved, I guess I'd win every one.
You can't really get mad at Phil because you don't get mad at a 9-year-old when they act out. Phil is such a combination of wild insecurity.
I didn't self-destruct as much as you all think.
And inflated overconfidence.
I just cannot play any better.
He's entertaining foil because the things he says are so ridiculable.
You can't give me lessons, too. No professional would raise me there. Now, enough is enough.
End of interview. Let's go.
Well, Phil so far has lost about half of his stack. It'll test his gentleman theory early.
What is going on here? Connor, what's the deal? I don't believe this. 1,500, right? That would leave me 3,450. That's nice. Nice.
Like Old Faithful.
I mean, this is ridiculous. You playing King 8 and King Deuce and Queen Deuce and stuff? It's a minefield, man.
Phil always whines, but he's right about the minefield of amateurs. However, the pros are going to have to adjust. The amateurs aren't going anywhere.
They are crawling all over this room, including at our featured table. But the pro of pros, Men the Master, also here at this featured table from his original 10,000 chips. He's under 4,000, but he's looking at aces.
And, Johnny World knocked over his chips. That could be construed as action sometimes. Some people would make you keep those chips in the pot, believe me.
The amateurs don't know enough, so they're going to let it slide.
Oh, they're just waiting for Celine Dion tickets.
Over to Michael Bro. King, Queen suited. Got 2 hearts. And he's going to raise the Master 300. The rest of the table folds. Now the action back to Men the Master. And with his aces, he does raise to 1,200. And now back to Michael Bro. And he will call the raise from Men the Master. So Men the Master and Bro will see the flop. And the flop comes 2-6-4. Master still leads with aces.
Bro, however, has picked up a heart draw, and Men the Master has gone all in.
How much is that?
And Bro is going to think about calling this with the heart draw. There's an 800 number, I believe, you can call for help. I think it's 1-800-ASK-TJ.
We've seen guys with poker manuals around the room here, deciding exactly how to act.
Here we're seeing another internet qualifier, the new breed of Hold'em player who pushes a lot of chips in just on a draw sometimes, and he's thinking about calling this.
Michael Bro from Massachusetts in his first World Series of Poker. Owns a bar in Massachusetts.
I'm gonna call.
Oh, he is going to call. And most pros would have laid that down in a heartbeat against the Masters' big all-in.
Master looks sick hearing that call.
Please.
Yeah, he's not happy to see that a flush draw has come in against him.
The Master has the lead with a pair of aces.
Again with the man.
Hey, flush man, help me out.
Yeah, Bro would love to see another heart for a flush. Man doesn't look happy.
No, he does seem to be in pain. And now a king,
Take a
queen,
queen.
or heart would knock Men the Master out of here.
River card is a heart.
Yes!
Bro wins the hand. Men the Master's disgusted.
A lightning bolt fells Men the Master.
At the age you make
Six-time bracelet winner Men the Master taken down by amateur Michael Bro.
Hey, it was a pleasure playing with you, man.
An abbreviated main event for Men the Master. It's not been a World Series he wants to remember.
I'm happy to go out with a pair of aces.
Any way you go out, any pro will tell you the day after you get knocked out of the main event is the longest day of the year.
No guts, no glory, right?
You just knocked out Men the Master, buddy.
I'm probably not gonna get his autograph now. Anyway. I'm just gonna sure you're not.
The Toyota Points Leader is brought to you by Toyota Tundra Double Cab. Not just big, life-sized.
Chris Moneymaker has not taken a whiff of that Toyota points leaderboard so far, but that has not diminished his popularity with the fans here.
Should have slept last night.
Thank you so much.
I got drunk till 6 o'clock this morning.
I'm no poker expert, and I'm no drinking expert, but I don't know if pounding beers till 6 in the morning was Chris's best way to defend this title.
There were almost 2,600 players vying for Moneymaker's main event title, but there are only a select few still in the hunt for the Toyota Player of the Year distinction. One of them is Howard Lederer. He's finished 7 times in the money so far this year, and already today looking pretty good. Another one to look at is Eric Seidel, who already has 177 points, and he's always a threat to win the main event. 1998 world champ Scotty Nguyen has finished in the money several times already and seems to be enjoying the main event. So, as we look at our Toyota Player of the Year leaderboard, it does show Howard Lederer in 5th position, Scott Fishman, who has won 2 bracelets already this year, just ahead of Howard, and the man topping the Player of the Year leaderboard, Daniel Negreanu, has made his way to our final table as they shuffle players and tables here at the World Series throughout the day.
Daniel always combines fine play with fine entertainment.
Daniel, along with Dennis Coletti, 2 of the new faces here at the featured table. Coletti from Bradenton, Florida, in his first World Series of Poker. How many times are we going to say that?
Yeah. Apparently, he cut off a safari he was in to come play in the World Series.
King 10 offsuit for Coletti. And he will raise the big blind, which is Daniel Negreanu. The rest of the table will fold. Back to Daniel now.
Daniel has very modest cards. He likes to see a lot of flops if he can. He likes to see them cheaply if he can. He's got to put in more money if he wants to see this flop.
He'll call it.
Call.
Impishly at that.
He's a delight to be around at the table.
So the flop comes 2-5-4. Negreanu catches a 5 for a pair and a 3-1 advantage.
And they both check, and Daniel does check his top pair.
No help on the turn with the queen. Daniel bets 750. Trying to get a read on Coletti.
I'll let you look through it on TV.
I had it. That's the worst one.
Actually, that was his best one. That was his 5 that paired the board.
I figured that.
I had King 10.
Had you in bad shape.
If anybody knows how to win with a weak hand, it's Daniel. He's been playing this game a long time.
I started back in Toronto. I used to be a pool player, sort of pool player / hustler. And through that, you know, you got into the wrong crowd, I guess you'd call it.
And just started playing poker in house games.
They used to go to your house or to your house and was playing poker. He started missing school.
My mother was like, no, you go to school. It's not poker for you.
My husband was upset. I was upset.
Just years went by. I was like 22 years old, and I finally woke up one day and went, you know what? I guess I'm a professional poker player. My mother always thought I was going to be like an actor or something like that, or something respectable. She just saw it as like, when are you just going to get your act together? Until finally I had like a lot of success, and she's like, I like poker. He's good.
For me now it's okay. I'm very proud of him. Proud I was even when he wasn't a good boy.
What'd your mom make us for dinner?
Got a little everything. All vegetarian, of course.
Oh,
huh?
Meat and potatoes, man.
Mama Negreanu's been cooking for Daniel at the World Series for a long time.
Wouldn't it be a shame if his mom really couldn't cook that well? I'm just saying.
He might not be the player that he is.
He's got Queen Jack suited right here, and that'll get him going in this hand.
A bet of 500 from Daniel over to Dennis Coletti.
Race.
With the 2 queens. So these two may be squaring off once again, the veteran and the newcomer, Negreanu and Coletti. Rest of the table folds, now over to Daniel.
Are you being humble?
I believe so.
It's Daniel who has cards that could be humbled right now, as it turns out.
Daniel calls the bet. Now the flop, 9-7 ace. Nobody gets any part of that. Both check. Now the turn card is a 2 of hearts. And you see the check mark next to Coletti. Daniel can only win the hand if he forces Coletti out.
And if he tries to force him out, it's because Daniel only has queen high, and he might try the old pro intimidating the amateur move here. He doesn't know Coletti has the queens.
And Daniel bets 3,000, tries to force him.
But Coletti with no delay in calling. And Daniel indicating a miscalculation on his part.
So Coletti stands his ground, the river card, 6 of clubs. Daniel's already drawing dead.
You got it. Kings are good. Queens are good too.
So after Coletti called, Daniel figured he had kings. He was pretty close. He sees the queens.
Score 1 more for the rookies.
I'm still scared, are you?
Welcome back to the Horseshoe in the 2004 World Series of Poker Main Event as we try to wade our way through the huge crowd. A lot of the pros trying to do same.
My worst fear is to be out tomorrow while half the field hasn't started yet. That's my worst fear.
My worst fear is being stuck in a freight elevator with Mike Matusow.
Mike not getting the cards. He maybe have to worry about that more than anything else. And speaking of mouths, Phil Hellmuth attempting to recover from his most recent meltdown, and he's now facing a bet of 3,500 chips. Phil's chip stack is a little stronger than when we last saw him, but he's not sure he wants to risk this many chips on what he's got.
Take a look at this.
Well, now he wants our camera crew to come over. He's got kings.
Yeah, those are kings, correct?
I think they are.
I'm supposed to go broke this hand too.
The board has all undercards, so if Phil's thinking of losing his kings, he's putting his opponent on aces or a set, which would be an incredible read.
Wow, I wonder if you have 2 aces, buddy. I just wonder.
This would be a monster laydown by Phil.
The problem is I've only thrown this hand away 3 times in my life, so you'll understand if I take a minute or 2.
I wonder if we got a speech from him the previous 3 times he threw away this hand. I'm guessing we did.
Looks like it pains him.
This is the 4th time in my life I threw this hand away.
Sometimes when you're stacking Phil's chips, I'm told, you can shut out his droning.
Well, I must be on some kind of drugs. What did you guys put in my Oreo cookies? Did somebody put some in my Oreo cookies?
We'll give Phil some time to sort out the cookie mystery.
Congratulations, you're down to the final 2,200 players.
I didn't finish last. My friends are wrong.
Each player has their own expectations here at the World Series of Poker.
I had Rockets first hand out the chute.
And we continue at our featured table. That is Ayhan Alsanjak. He is from Gothenburg, Sweden. You know how many times he's been to the World Series?
First time.
First time. He has a suited Queen Jack. And it's worthy of 750 chips. To Daniel Negreanu,
who is in the big blind.
With a suited queen 2.
And once again, Daniel wanting to see a flop, thinking about it.
He'll make the call. So Alsanjak and Negreanu on the flop, and Alsanjak pairs his jack. Daniel with the bet.
And he's first to act with the bet, and he is trying to buy it right now because he has nothing, and he ain't going to be able to buy it. He is called.
And the turn is a queen. Negreanu pairs up, and Alsanjak has 2 pair. He can't lose unless he folds.
So Daniel has checked.
Ihan is a martial arts instructor in Sweden, and he'll kick in 2,500 chips here.
25?
Yeah, that's going to perplex Daniel. Daniel tried to buy the pot on the flop, and he was called. Now he's gotten his best possible card. He's got top pair with queens, and his opponent is betting. He can't put his opponent on the queen, and his opponent already has queens and jacks. As we have said, Daniel's drawing dead.
Daniel's going to make the call and go to the river. Not too happy or sure about it, but he does. It's a 4 of hearts.
Check.
Negreanu done being aggressive.
Yeah, he checked with both hands that time.
Ihan now to act. He has to push somehow. 6,000.
In my experience, that noise is always a bad sign, Lon. On or off the table.
What did I do this hand? Wow.
Daniel's agonizing because if he calls this, he'd be put all in.
What he doesn't know is if he calls it, he'll be all out.
Where, are you from Europe? Just curious. Huh? Yep. Sweden? Oh, don't tell me Sweden. I can call a Swedish guy. That's the scary thing.
Not original Swedish.
You're not originally Swedish?
50-50.
Where are you from originally?
Turkey.
Turkey? That's even worse. That's scary. That's even more likely that he's bluffing. Oh man, this is ugly. Ay, 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 ay. Swedish, Turkish.
Oof. Worst combination.
This is brutal. I played this hand real goofy. Now I have no clue what to do at all. If he wouldn't have told me he was Swedish, I would have folded by now, I promise. I'm serious. I did it to myself this hand, I think.
Interestingly, Lon, Daniel plays a weekly home game at the United Nations.
Ay, ay, ay. I guess I have to, All right. You got it.
Daniel correctly folds his hand. Ihan wins it. Daniel Negreanu still trying to figure out what went wrong on that hand and figure out how to beat these newcomers. Welcome back to the main event at the World Series of Poker. The outer tables are overflowing with characters aplenty here at the Horseshoe Casino, presenting a circus-like atmosphere, which brings us to the nutty subjects of this week's Nuts. Welcome to Binion's Big Top, the greatest show on felt. Come one.
We're back.
Come all. Woo-hoo. Come big. Come small. Come suits. Come freaks. Come hipsters. Come geeks. Come young. Come old. Come brash. Come bold. Come see the wonders Binion's Big Top can hold. A greasy man. A made man.
Yeah, let John Gotti out of the cell and Sammy the Bull.
Superman. Even Spider-Man. From accountants to actors, from officers to gentlemen, whomever they are and from wherever they came, it's clear they were meant for this crazy game. And there in the yellow hat is Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire.
How many chips you got, Danny?
You got like 3,000, so 32. More than enough.
I like your eyes.
It's like I'm in my comfort zone now.
That's
you know,
right.
just ready to like break out.
You're gonna hit him over the head right now.
I had like nothing, you know.
Apparently, Daniel and Tobey are friends, and if there's ever the Daniel Negreanu story filmed, I gotta believe Tobey Maguire should play the part.
Oh, you got a point. Got a point. Got the same bend in the hat. Same mysterious nature about them.
Bend in the hat, schmend in the hat. They look alike, for goodness sake.
Well, Daniel, as you heard with his conversation with Toby Maguire, down a bit on chips. That's a lot of work to do if he wants to win a 4th World Series bracelet. Nick Curzon's a screenwriter from New York. Maybe he and Daniel and Toby can have lunch. He's got a couple of aces.
Oh, look at that. Curzon smiled, Lon, when he saw his aces. I believe that's a tell.
Well, he tells everybody he's going to raise 600. Now over to Daniel Negreanu. And a suited ace-5.
Daniel's thinking, clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right, and stuck in the middle, he calls.
Now Dennis Coletti. Couple of 8s.
Humble, humble, be humble.
It's hard.
It's hard.
It isn't my personality. I'll be humble.
Attaboy.
Daniel gets what he wants. He did not want to see a raise.
So a 3-handed to the flop. Curzon, Negreanu, and Coletti. And the flop is queen, queen, 10. Curzon still with a big advantage with his 2 aces.
And no hearts on the board, so Daniel's almost dead.
A check from Curzon. Over to Daniel Negreanu.
He might be slow playing him. He might fear someone having a queen behind him. And Daniel bets.
When doesn't he bat? He's like a machine. Bat, bat.
Well, Lon, he has been dancing around a lot. And I don't think Daniel has formal dance training, but we have seen him dancing with these cards a lot today.
1150 to Coletti.
You should have never seen the flop.
Oh, you were supposed to move in before the flop?
You should have never seen the flop.
If you moved in before the flop, I would have folded.
You should have never seen the flop.
I would have folded if you did.
Yeah, he would have.
Welcome.
And now he's trying to buy the pot.
You know what? Thought of the day. And you wouldn't do the same.
I don't know if he would have called you before the flop.
Oh, we know he would have called.
So Coletti folds. Action to Curzon.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, he says.
Yikes!
All in.
That sucks.
So, can everybody see the smile on my face? I'm not in this hand.
Daniel folds.
Huh? I was so hoping he had ace-king.
Ace-queen.
Ace-queen, and one or the other.
Not quite.
Not quite ace-queen?
Ace-jack, I meant to say. I forgot there were 3 queens.
No.
Ace-jack beats me, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
These amateurs don't even lie well, Lon.
Meanwhile, on the outer tables, a crowd still gathered around the defending champion, Chris Moneymaker. And with so many people, it does get a bit warm here at the Horseshoe.
Big scramble. What is hell in here?
And it's fan club now taking on a more literal meaning.
What's that? Too hot. Way too hot. Oh, it's warmer. All in.
And now there is Matt Hagan. He was at our feature table earlier today. We were commenting how much he looked like Chris Moneymaker. He is putting all of his chips in, about 2,200 now.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Well, so he'll want to get this hand over with quick as possible.
Hagan's Moneymaker days may be ending soon, as his all-in bet is called.
Hagan turns over ace-7 against 2 jacks.
Hagan is looking for an ace or a 5 to make it straight.
Turn card is no help. Matt Hagan 1 card from elimination. River card, a 3 of spades, and Matt Hagan is done.
It was fun.
So Matt Hagan, who had a nice rush early on at the featured table, runs out of steam, and he will not be starring in the remake of the Chris Moneymaker story at this year's World Series of Poker. Welcome back to the Horseshoe and the World Series of Poker. On the outer tables, maybe things turning around for Phil Hellmuth.
Is anybody out there rooting for me? There's 2 or 3. Yes, okay.
A couple of Hellmuth fans?
Hey, he's doubled it in the last year. We move back now to our featured table. The blinds are at 150 and 300. Daniel Negreanu just trying to survive day one. That is the mantra of all the players here today. And he's looking at a king-queen suited, and he'll bet 200. And that goes over to Richard Clamion. He's 55 years old from Las Vegas, his 14th World Series of Poker. He's got 1 bracelet, and he's looking at ace, queen unsuited.
1,600.
And raises.
So much.
What was that, Danny?
1,600.
Is it the wheels coming off or the wind going out of his sails?
I want to play so bad. You've got 2 8s, 2 9s, or 2 10s. Maybe jacks.
Well, if Clammy had any of those hands, Daniel would be in better shape than he is right now against the ace-queen. That's a killer hand for him to go up against.
Daniel with a big decision now to call. He's been agonizing over every call.
I think I know what you got.
You don't, Daniel. Get out!
16 total, right?
Not a good sign. He'll call it. So Clamion and Negreanu will go to the flop.
And Negreanu, a 3-1 underdog.
And it's 9-8-2, no help.
I checked.
To the turn card. A queen, and Negreanu probably thinks the queen helps him.
It does help him, but they both have queens, and Clamion has the better kicker. Daniel decides to bet all in.
I call. How much is it?
Yeah, 3 8s, right?
How much is it?
15 1/4. I didn't want to hit a pair on the turn. I really didn't. Huh? Spades. Just didn't like gambling. I think I put them on 8s and an 8 flop and I still played. Oh, it was worse than that. If I knew that, I never would have played. We need a king or we're going home.
Daniel Negreanu, 1 card away from being eliminated. And the card's a 2 of hearts, not what Daniel needed.
Good hand.
Richard Clamion wins the hand, and Daniel Negreanu eliminated from the main event at the 2004 World Series of Poker.
Play good. Play good.
He struggled against the amateurs all day long, finally taken out by Richard Clamion, a seasoned pro.
Overall, I wasn't all that happy with the way I played. I mean, I made a couple mistakes, probably was pushing a little more than I needed to, you know, because there was a lot of novice players. I should have waited a little longer. They were like unbluffable, and I was trying to bluff them, so big mistake on my part, I think.
Meanwhile, the outer tables over in Moneymaker Plaza, our defending champion, Chris Moneymaker, getting a bit of a massage, maybe to ease the pain of his all-nighter. Moneymaker in trouble right now. He's got an ace-10 offsuit, but he's going up against the 3 kings of William Edler, and Moneymaker has made a 1,500 chip bet.
In betting right there, Moneymaker was hoping to take down the pot. Of course, he doesn't know he's up against 3 kings, and when those 3 kings come in, as they will, Edler will be a huge favorite against Moneymaker.
And Edler with the raise. Moneymaker calls it immediately, and he is all in.
And Moneymaker is all but out of here. He is going to need running aces, or his 2004 World Series is over.
William Edler on the verge of knocking off the defending champion, Chris Moneymaker. And now comes the turn card, and that's going to do it. Edler has a full house. The river card is meaningless, and Chris Moneymaker is eliminated. Love you, Chris.
And adding insult to injury, he's going to have to pay for the massage that he thought would last longer, as his World Series defense has ended.
Appreciate it, guys.
It was never his intention to be the standard bearer for the poker world over the last year, but largely because of Chris Moneymaker's win in the main event last year, poker has been forever changed.
No better evidence than that, Lon, than the fact that as Chris Moneymaker walks out of here today, he leaves an astounding 2,000 players still alive with a chance to win.
See y'all next year.
There is Sam Farha with probably the most stylish unlit cigarette in poker history. And another heavyweight sitting at the table, John Jawanda, 3 World Series of Poker bracelets under his belt. Sammy, one of the most active poker players you'll see at a table. Looking at his cards on the Miller High Life Pocket Cam, a Jack-5 suited, and he'll bet 50. Over to Martin Clark, and you look at his King-10 offsuit, and he'll make the call. The blinds at our featured table right now are at 25 and 50.
In Hold'em, 2 players are forced to put chips in before the hand begins. That's a small and big blind, and the blinds go up as the day wears on.
There you look at Ed Smith in the big blind. He has an unsuited Jack-10. Doesn't cost him anything to play, so He will be in the hand. 3 hands to the flop, and we get 3 hearts. Sammy Farha with the flush.
Sammy plays more hands than most good players. He's rewarded here. He will slow play the flush, hoping to induce a bet from one of the other players.
And he does get that from Clark, who bets 200 on a heart draw. And Ed Smith will fold his pair of 10s.
Yeah, Clark actually is a danger to Sammy. You wouldn't know it, but if another heart comes out, Clark would have the better flush with the king.
How much to raise?
600 more.
Sammy Farha raised 600 to Clark.
Look at his baseball cap. It says fool. I don't know how he got into my closet.
Clark does make the call, foolishly or not. The turn card, a queen of diamonds, no help. Sammy checks.
Sammy going to continue to set the trap and hope to get more chips down the road.
Martin Clark taking his time on this. Well, he's going to check also. And the river's a jack of diamonds. You see the check mark next to Farha's name. He can only lose if he folds.
Sammy's going to fire now, and he bets 2,000. And the bad news for Clark is that the river gave him a straight. It's going to be hard for him not to call the bet from Sammy.
Cool.
Clark does call it. Sammy shows him the flush and the winning hand.
How does he do it? Play every hand. You can't miss everyone.
Sam Farha comes out firing as usual. The Horseshoe Casino is busting its seams with poker players in this main event. One of the players who've been here a number of times, Gus Hansen, sitting with veteran Dan Harrington, the 95 champ, who also made the final table last year.
And those two guys have quite a contrast in styles. Harrington very tight and solid, and Gus Hansen loves to push, but he's going to sit back right here.
Harrington wins the pot, but there's no celebration. He knows it's a long road to the final table. One player who does not have any experience at reaching the championship table in the main event is Rafe First.
11 minutes, that's what I'm going to try to beat this year.
Rafe ironically had the dubious honor of being the first player eliminated in last year's main event, a moment his friend Phil Gordon reminds him of to this very day.
I told him if he doesn't last at least 12 minutes this year that I may not talk to him until the next World Series of Poker.
It feels horrible when you bust out of the World Series. But there's a special amount of shame, I think, I can say from personal experience, in busting out the very first.
What comes around goes around.
He somehow managed to last 7 minutes?
11 minutes.
Okay, 11 minutes. He lasted 11 minutes.
Yeah, where's the timer?
It's like, how do you explain to somebody that you just lost $10,000 in 11 minutes?
I mean, to be the first person out of 850 to bust out of a tournament is pretty ridiculous.
I thought about the way I played, that big hand over and over again. And
he said he couldn't get away from it. I'm like, whatever, dude. Just get me coffee and bring me drinks for the next 3 days.
Well, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but I'll say that he definitely has given me some grief.
I'd still kid him about it on almost a daily basis.
My goal is simple, it's to win.
Back to action with Rafe. I think he's been slow playing everything just so he beats last year's mark of 11 minutes. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing.
Okay, I've officially lasted longer than I did last year. I can start playing. All in.
You know what? The good thing about well, everybody at our feature table still alive in the tournament as well. Craig Hartman in the green hat looking at a couple of hole cards of King.
God, I'm starting to play as many hands as Sam. This is getting awful.
That's scary.
Well, there's some used car salesmanship there, Lon. He's got good cards to play.
It'd be safe to play him against me, though.
I'd love to play those against Sammy. He'll bet 300. Sam pretty much has a target on his back.
Well, because of celebrity from last year, everybody loves to play against Sammy, and Sammy brings it on because he plays a lot of hands.
John Jawanda with 2 8s, and he will make the call. Farha will not play this hand. And actually, a lot of the poker pros are celebrities now, and the newcomers want a piece of them.
Does he work for us?
On the flop, Jawanda picks up a third 8. Hartman's turn to act, and he will bet 500 with the 2 kings.
But the monster flop puts Jawanda in a great position. He's going to raise 1,000.
There's no way that Hartman can put him on those 3 8s. And Hartman will make the call. And on the turn, it's a 10 of hearts. No help now for Hartman, who trails in his hand.
And he fires again. He figures his pocket kings are good.
And Jawanda comes right back with 2,000.
I'll go on.
Hartman very confident in those kings for 4,500 chips. He's going all in.
I hope he doesn't work for us, because he's in a bad spot, and obviously he doesn't have John on the set of 8s. John might be worried that Hartman just made a set of 10s, but he's going to call the all-in.
And Hartman sees he needs some help on the river.
Yeah, king and king only will keep Hartman alive here at the World Series.
And the river card is a jack of hearts. John Juan that comes from behind to win the hand. Craig Hartman eliminated.
Good hand.
Can we get the hat back?
Good luck, Sam. Good luck, Jack.
Sometimes when going up against a king, kings aren't enough.
The World Series of Poker is brought to you by Milwaukee's Best Light. Milwaukee's Best Light, brewed for a man's taste. And Harrah's Entertainment. And the Toyota Tundra Double Cab, not just big, life-sized. The World Series of Poker presented by Miller High Life. Main Event.
With a surprising number of entries this year, not all of the 2,500 plus players could immediately be seated when play began. With the horseshoe filled to capacity, players that signed up late were placed on an alternates list, given a number, and waited outside for a seat to become available.
We were technically sold out, 2,400 players. There's almost 100 people waiting outside. They're lined up, they're numbered 1 through 100.
82. 31.
47.
Yeah, we got a couple of guys here we need wet.
The first guy that gets knocked out, I go in.
He was the first man out. Wally Zeemans, alternate number 1. Wally Zeeman, your seat is open.
Put some money, man. $5 million.
Welcome to the big show, Wally. You're in with the big boys now. Hang on to those chips. At our featured table, we also have an alternate player. His name's Jeremy Tinsley from Houston, his first World Series of Poker. He's got a front row seat on Sam Farha.
Nah, that's a Sammy I like to see. I came here, you look like, somebody slept with your girlfriend. All depressed looking. I don't believe in voodoo.
You will. You will when things changes right now.
Are we going to war? Are we going to war?
Not yet, it's too early. I don't have enough bullets to go to war.
Tinsley's quoting Sam Farha from last year.
Well, they're coming in off the street lawn and lining up to take their shots at Sammy.
How much?
I'm gonna make it 300.
Thomas Venus with a king-queen suited.
Tommy made it? Well, let's get it.
No, what?
His 300 chip bet is called by Sam Farha, who's got a pair of 3s.
Yeah, Sammy hadn't seen a flop in at least a minute, Lon, so he's just wanting to get in.
Tinsley will fold over to Ed Smith. Smith with a king-9, couple of diamonds. And then Robert Martin with a queen-4, 2 clubs.
Boy, it's turned into a home game.
They stacked it, a 4-way jump ball for the flop. Farha gets a trio of 3s. Everybody checks to Sam.
I don't think I can give you a free card, boys.
Well, most people like to slow play a set on the flop, but other times, sometimes you bet it to eliminate competition in case someone's trying to sneak up your backside with a straight or something.
Farha throws 700 chips into the pot, and Smith goes away. Now to Robert Martin, and he will fold.
I hate you to my left.
Give it to me, I'll check. I'll check. Let him in.
Venus folds, Sammy wins it.
Show a bluff, come on.
I can't. You'll see it on TV. I should have checked, though.
I wish you would have.
3 trees, Tommy.
3 trees?
Yeah. What do you think I had? I wouldn't bet less than a set.
We can't trust you. We seen you on TV last year when you told Moneymaker you had pocket queens.
Well, I was tired that time.
Oh, you thought that's what you really had,
I didn't see my hand. I had queen 9. I thought I had 2 queens. What's the difference?
It's pretty close.
It's not a lie. You had half of the hand.
Of course, they're talking about Sam's memorable fib following Chris Moneymaker's legendary bluff during last year's final table.
In a tournament, you adjust your mind not to go broke. Don't do it. Come on. Chris is all in.
Chris Moneymaker going all in with nothing.
As a poker player, I read people really good.
Moneymaker bluffed at this once, and Farha came. He's now bluffing at it again.
At that moment, it was 50-50 in my eyes.
It's quite a predicament for Sammy. He has a pair of 9s. It's the best hand, but he can't know that.
I said, I can beat this guy. Let me lay it down.
He is not gonna do it.
That's the bluff of the century. What a play from Chris Moneymaker.
What bothers me is people talking about it. It's the best bluff of the year. The play was horrible, but I made the mistake, and I made the play look good. That's the difference.
Much as Sammy didn't like it, that quote-unquote horrible play worked against him.
Thomas Venus, couple of fives, he'll call the big blind. Wonder what Sam will do.
You call, I call.
Did you even look at your hand?
No. I don't have to.
No need to, is there?
No, for Sammy, the hand doesn't even begin till the flop hits.
Over to Tinsley, our alternate. He'll bet in the small blind, it's 2 fours.
And Wild Bill Hickok just trying to stay alive in the big blind.
That guy is dangerous.
He'll see the flop for free.
Ed Smith, 1 of 4 to see the flop. Tinsley lands a set of 4s. Everybody checks back to Sammy again.
So Tinsley's going to slow play his 4s like he's learned on TV.
300 from Sammy.
Yeah, Tinsley likes that. He got the pro to bet into him, and he's setting him up.
Tinsley calls, Smith folds, Venus folds. So 2 go to the turn.
Sammy's drawing dead. Tinsley's going to slow play it again.
You know I'm gonna fire, right?
You don't have to. We're friends.
You made a good comment. Okay. It's a good one.
Sammy almost speechless.
Sammy is delighted to see a free card.
Rivers a 7 means nothing.
I know you wouldn't have checked if you would have had anything, though.
You made me check.
You could have bet.
You said we're friends, right?
Well, that's how you treat your people, though. Look how you do Tommy.
It's okay. You're gonna win a small one, but I'll get you in the big one. Just remember that.
Tinsley wins it.
I had it, Sammy. I had it.
Doesn't matter.
Drinks on the house, baby. Sammy!
Are we going to war?
The World Series of Poker presented by Miller High Life. Main event.
Welcome back to the biggest event in poker history. We are in day 2 of round 1. The blinds are 100 and 200. Sam Farha looking at an ace-king suited. Of course, he's going to play it, and he will raise 600.
And with this biggest event, Lon, $5 million for first prize, double the first prize money that Chris Moneymaker won last year because the field is so huge.
3 times the field from last year. They were thinking 1,200, 1,500 people. It started going over the 2,000 mark, and everybody's jaws dropped. Ed Smith calls, and now over to John Jawanda in the big blind.
And he will call Sammy's raise.
So 3 to the flop, and Jawanda, wow, flops a king high straight.
But Farha is drawing to the best hand. He can get a flush, he can get a higher straight. He has a pair of kings. Plus, that was a good flop for Smith. He's got a pair of queens and a straight draw. Jawanda has bet 1,300.
And Sam Farha will call with his pair of kings and flush draw, and Smith will call as well.
That flop excited me so much, I might have to excuse myself. That was incredible. They all got a piece of it.
Turn card is a 3 of clubs, nothing that Sammy needs. Smith is drawing dead.
Meanwhile, Sammy's still got this monster draw. He can make the nut straight. He has a royal flush draw, even though he can't make the royal flush because Jawanda has the jack. And Sammy has top pair with kings, so he's got possibilities tumbling on top of possibilities. Wow! He gives it up. I mean, I could never give that up.
Ed Smith gives it up also. Sammy's asking for the rabbit card.
He wanted to see if he made his heart flush. He wouldn't have.
Jawanda wins the hand. And out of the outer table, something's going on. You get this many people in the room, there's bound to be some conflict.
No, that's not true. And don't push it back into the muck. You want to call a floor?
All right, call the floor.
And find out what the rule is?
Yes.
Okay, call a floor and I'll explain the rule to you.
That's how I learned.
Matt!
Well, looks like Annie Duke having a problem on one of the outer tables with Brett Youngblood.
Yeah, he violated some poker protocol with his hand.
You can't push the cards into the muck like that
She's
when
pretty
they're
upset.
clearly visible.
Pull them out.
2 Omaha high-low bracelet winners going at it here.
But you pushing them in, but you pushing it into the muck, that upsets me.
Brad? All right, I'm sorry.
I adore him, but you know.
She taught me how to play Omaha high-low.
I mean, I really do adore him, but that was, he knows he was out of line.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Your apology is accepted.
There are crimes and misdemeanors. What Brett did was just a misdemeanor. I think Annie may be overreacting.
Well, Annie schooled Brett, but she's also got a more famous pupil.
I've been teaching Ben Affleck to play poker this year. The first time I played with him, he wasn't a good player. I mean, you know, he was trying to play with the best professionals in the world and really had no experience and didn't really understand the game very well.
Play a lot of hands.
I sure do.
I actually beat him out a lot of money. The first time I won like $20,000 the first night that I played with him. So I was like, wow, playing with celebrities is sure nice. This guy's bad.
It's all yours, love. Take it away from me.
When I met him, he asked me if I gave lessons, and I said I would think about it. And I started teaching him. I said, all you ever do is bet. You just bet before the flop, bet after the flop, bet the turn, bet the river. Just totally unapplied aggression. And I just said, you have to stop that. He's a really incredibly smart person. I mean, I've given him a lot of pointers on what to look for, but he's really good at applying it. And he's become world class, absolutely world class.
Well, things seem to have calmed down at Annie Dukes and Brett Youngblood's table.
Annie still seems a bit dour, but when you push chips towards a player, that usually picks up their spirits.
Usually. Back to our featured table and the second half of the field, which was about 2,600 players strong. By the time we get to round two, we'll be down to about 1,100.
Which is still more than we started with last.
That's amazing. Robert Martin called the big blind. And over to Sam Farha. He's got a suited 10-9.
I think Sammy has to see a certain quota of flops before he can go home each night.
I think it's 100% too, is the quota. John Carway with an ace-queen unsuited will call. Joshua Wilson, who stacked the deck. 2 queens for Wilson.
He's going to play out of the small blind.
750. That's a raise over to Tinsley. Jacks, where's all this coming from?
And in the big blind, he's going to play.
We've got 5 players in the hand right now.
You see the percentages next to each player's name? I have no idea what they mean. And look, now they're changing. I believe we're getting outlying precincts reporting from upstate.
Robert Martin will fold, so 4 players left to act. Farha called, now Carway to act, and he will call as well, so 4 to the flop. And Tinsley flops another set. He's got jacks.
Lon, these flops are on steroids today.
Wilson bets 2,500 with his 2 queens, and now Tinsley raises 2,500.
Now Sammy got a part of the flop, but it was only a pair of 10s, and he's going to get out of the way.
Now over to Carway,
who has just an inside straight draw, and he decides to get out of the way.
Now Wilson has to decide if he's going to call 2,500 more, and he will indeed. And now the turn card is an 8. Tinsley's still in commanding position here. Wilson checks.
Got the pocket queens, but he's wearing now Tinsley's raise on the flop.
And he should be. Tinsley goes all in with the 3 jacks.
I guess I gotta pay off the set.
Well, he's analyzed the hand right. He knows he's up against a set, so Tinsley's all in. The only way Wilson can send him home is with a 9 to make a straight. Remember, he can't get another queen. You saw the 2 other queens were out in other hands.
And now the river card, it's a king, and Tinsley wins again.
Scary there for a minute, Samito.
Tinsley wins the hand and survives his all-in.
Looky, looky, looky what I found.
Carway sulking. That river king would have given him the straight and sent Tinsley home.
The Toyota Points Leader is brought to you by Toyota Tundra Double Cab. Not just big, life-sized.
Let's take a look at our Toyota Player of the Year standings. Daniel Negreanu still leads, though he got knocked out of the main event in day 1. John Jawanda at our feature table in 3rd position. But for any of these players still alive, they could win this award should they win the main event. And that includes Scott Fishman, the leading winner of the crew this year. Scott's been having a good day so far, and if he keeps it up, he's got a good chance of being our Player of the Year.
Scott's won 2 bracelets here this year. He has been in a zone this entire World Series. I would not bet against him.
Ted Forrest, who has also won 2 bracelets this year, is looking to win his first main event. Today, Ted has been struggling, and he's going to need to start winning a few pots to keep pace.
But Ted has proven that he's one of the best players in the world, either in tournaments or in cash games.
Back to our featured table, and the blinds continue at 100 and 200. And Sam Farha is still breathing, so
He'll probably want to see a flop.
Sam's got a couple of sixes. And he'll be in for 600. Martin Clark folds over to John Carway, a business owner from Illinois. He's got a king-8 suited. Another one of the many players here whose poker experience comes via the internet. Carway calls Sammy Farha. Wilson will fold, so the newbie and the veteran go into the flop. It comes out 4-4-3.
No help for either player. Carway will check. Farha's sixes are still good right now.
6 again.
Sammy bet 600.
Carway's reaching for chips. This would be a very loose call.
For the 1,000.
Actually, he's raising. He's going to bluff. Sammy calls.
You gotta prove it, remember that.
Sammy doesn't believe he has it, and Sammy's right.
And now the turn card is a 10 of spades. Still no help. And Carway's going to keep pushing.
1,000.
Yeah, he'll try to bluff at it again. Sammy's got his number, though. Sammy knows he has nothing, and Sammy calls.
And now the river card. Oh, it's an 8, and Carway's been poking around in the dark, and he finally found something.
Say it ain't so. He's been betting with nothing and got lucky.
What the hell do you have?
What he has is unbelievable luck, as Sammy's going to find out, and he's not going to like to see this.
Small pair.
Did I see it? Small pair at the end?
Sammy had it cased.
I'll tell you, you gotta stick with the internet. You'll be better off over there.
It looks just like it, though.
It's unbelievable, huh?
I'm trying to bluff you out, but obviously you don't bluff.
You're shaking too much. You can't bluff somebody when you shake too much. That's why you're better off playing on the internet. Hey, buddy, you can't win it if you keep shaking up.
Sammy's burning. He read the internet rookie perfect the whole way. He lost in the lucky 8 on the river, and worst of all, Sam lost most of his chips.
Play in the dark, Sammy. It'll give everybody something to talk
on my
about.
big blind, I'll do that. Play it in the dark.
It'll give something to talk about. You know, everybody be talking about it. Especially if you come back and win. Think about the recognition you'll get.
Well, Sam looks to be on his last legs, and they just won't let him go peacefully. Couple of 8s.
All right, this is it.
Sam goes all in with his last 1,125 chips.
This is the big one. Get the camera here. Make sure you get this hand. I wouldn't have raised if I had the yellow chip.
Oh, I thought you had a yellow.
No.
Sam's played a lot of hands today. He's had the right instincts, but he hasn't had a whole lot of opportunity to really get going.
Over to Ed Smith.
How much is it, Sammy? Don't call. Come on. You calling?
He's the guy that's haunted you all day, huh?
The whole table has surrounded Sam all day, and he hasn't had the cards to be able to fight back.
Ed Smith does, though.
Get the camera going, boys. It's the best hand all night long.
Sammy's 8s against Smith's kings.
Come on, Tommy. Oh, no, I got a pair for the first time.
No. Not much of one, though.
Oh, you got the real pair.
Ed Smith does,
I just
indeed.
sense an 8 coming.
Sammy's day in a nutshell. He finally has a decent hand, but he's up against a monster in a horrendous spot.
And the flop comes Queen 9-2. No help for Sammy.
A couple more nails in Sammy's coffin. He's going to need an 8 now to stay alive.
It seemed like this entire featured table was a posse out to get Sam Farha. Now they're one card closer to getting him.
It's coming. It's coming. I see it coming, boys.
There it is. There it is.
River card's a 3, and that's going to do it. Sam Farha's gone. And one of the most enduring figures of the 2003 World Series of Poker exits in round number 1.
Good job, Sam.
Ed Smith takes credit for the knockout.
Well, I had some hands, and I laid some hands also. And it's the table was great. I mean, I had a great table. I didn't have the luck, I guess.
Welcome back to the Horseshoe. Not only do people come from all over the country to play in the World Series, but they also come to watch the World Series. Some players, though, have a little more support than others, like Phil Ivey.
Yeah, he knows we're here.
How could he miss us? Everybody knows we're here.
Phil Ivey, I'm sure, enjoying his special rooting section, but would gladly trade their support for a few more chips right now. You see the concern on their face as Phil having a rough time of it on the outer tables.
This has been a weird World Series for Phil Ivey. He's been doing very well in cash games outside of the World Series, but in this tournament, he has not fared well in 2004.
And Phil Ivey has been knocked out of the 2004 World Series of Poker. Most players would want to slink away anonymously after being knocked out, but Phil will take solace in knowing his fans love him, win or lose. Day 2 of round number 1, blinds 150 and 300, and we've got a whole set of new players at our featured table now as they do move players around during tournament action. Chris Jesus Ferguson, one of them. Chris set the World Series record for most finishes in the money last year with 8, and he'll bet 700 with his 2 9s.
Nice to see a former champion here, Lon. You know, I was going to play this year, but 1, I don't need the $5 million first prize, and 2, I didn't have the entry money.
Table is folding around the horn over to Jeff Wood from Knoxville, Tennessee, and he will call with his King 8 suited. Over to John Cernuto.
Lon, I have never trusted Miami John. Born in New Jersey, moved to Las Vegas, and his name is Miami John. You tell me.
Not from Ohio either.
He does call, and we have 3-way action going to the flop.
And to the flop, and a pair of 6s for Cernuto, and he will check.
He got the best part of the flop, though, the pair and a flush draw.
Everybody checks over to Wood, and he too will check. We go to the turn, the ace of clubs, no help. Nobody's got much of anything.
Well, the 9s are best, but Cernuto's going to fire at this pot right now, try to take it down, hope the ace scares other people. He still has the flush draw. And now Jesus double checking his pocket pair, and he mucks the best hand at the moment.
The decision now for Jeff Wood on whether or not to call the 600 from Miami John. Wood decides to fold. And the rabbit cam shows that Wood would have beaten Miami John, and if he'd stayed in the hand, so too would Chris.
3 of a kind, boys.
3 of a kind? I told you not to trust this guy.
Out of the outer tables, let's catch up with John Chuanda, who was at our featured table earlier today. John looks like he's built up his stack just a little bit since he left us, but he's been raised here near the end of this hand.
Chuanda should always be a player of the year for Atlanta because he plays a number of games well. Omaha, Hold'em, and Stud. Right here, he'll muck his cards.
And we check in once again with Ray First, having matched and surpassed his 11-minute goal that he set for himself. He's looking to survive the rest of the day. He's got a King 8 suited, but it runs into a couple of queens, and Ray First will lose that hand. His chip stack getting a little bit low, so he might have to play a little tighter to make it to tomorrow. Back now to our featured table.
Well, I'm gonna write my book. You guys are gonna read it. I survived Chris Ferguson. I survived the sandwich, I'm going to say.
Well, it's not over. You got another 38 minutes.
Oh, we got 38 minutes?
Don't start that book for another 38 minutes. That's all I got to say.
Oh, we still have 38 minutes? I spoke too soon. I thought it was over 1. I was planning not to play another hand.
You didn't get a good seat, did you?
No. Yeah.
That is Hollywood Tony Caden, and he is sandwiched in between Chris Jesus Ferguson and Miami John Cernuto, a couple of heavyweight pros.
And as we just heard, he's doing research on his I Survived Chris Ferguson book, due out shortly.
Our blinds are at 200, 400, Miami John, 2-act. He's got a Jack 10. He'll call the big blind. Over to Hollywood Tony, he's got a 7-5 suited. He's playing in his first World Series of Poker, and he'll call. Jesus with a King 6, 2 clubs. He calls.
He comes in for half price in the small blind.
There's Sidney Feingold with a Queen 8.
Not much, but he's in the big blind. Oh, the 2-finger check. Very distinctive.
It's a toss-up now with 4 players going to the flop. Ferguson with a pair of kings.
But he's going to check. The ace is on board. I got to worry him. Anyone with an ace in the hole is going to beat him.
Miami John now to act, and he will bet 600 to Hollywood Tony.
Well, if he calls here, it diminishes his chances, I believe, of surviving Chris Ferguson and writing that big book.
7-5 is not good enough to hang around. He does fold. Now to Jesus. He'll make the call. And Feingold will fold his Queen 8. So 2 left for the turn. Cernuto and Ferguson, and the 7 of hearts doesn't help.
Miami John didn't want any callers when he bet. Oh, he's like waving the white flag there. I think he should have bet again, probably.
Miami John pairs his jack, but it's not enough.
I'm absolutely done with it. I check.
Jesus wins it.
Can't beat it. Make sure. I can't beat it.
He is indeed sure. Miami John was able to muscle Chris Ferguson out of the previous hand, but this time Jesus sticks around, and his 2 kings are good enough to win it.
It was either hammer him back all the way and go home or stay to play another day. I didn't know. That was my choice, and I thought...
Go write your book.
Yeah, go and write the book. And I thought, if I don't get...
I think you should have hammered him.
This is the greatest event in the history of mankind.
The strongest players in the world have come together.
This is the most prestigious event ever.
To decide once and for all who is the best of the best.
It's going to be the hardest mentally tough thing I've probably ever done in my life.
This is poker at its highest level. This is blind man's bluff.
It's going to be a war.
We're down to 3 finalists in blind man's bluff. You know how to play it, just like Texas Hold'em. You're the only one that does not see your hole cards. And now we have Cloney, Nguyen, Chris Moneymaker, Amir Vahidi left.
I've seen Amir make a lot of final tables, but he bluffs away a lot of his chips a lot of the times.
Moneymaker's got nothing. Vahidi's got nothing. Nguyen with a 9-2. Now that's a nice hand.
Oh, why don't I just leave you two alone, for crying out loud? Moneymaker bets. Oh, Amir's raising as usual, raising with nothing.
Cloney all in with the 9-2.
Those are 3 bad hands.
Moneymaker's a Johnny-come-lately anyway.
Yeah, he came in midway through this championship. He just walks in like he was one of the Rockefellers.
Here it comes. I told you 9-2 was perfect. 2 pair for Cloney.
That's absurd. Amir's going home now.
Another 9 divine 9.
Oh, jeez, Lon. Someone's dealing off the bottom of the deck. The ladies winning every hand.
Amir drawn dead and eliminated. Is this rigged so the pretty face gets the winner?
I'm rooting for Moneymaker now.
I hope so. Back at our featured table of the World Series of Poker, day 2 of round 1. Chris Sundberg from Florida and his first World Series of Poker. You know where he learned to play, Norm, by the way?
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
Online. Sundberg with 2 threes calls the big blind with 400 over to Miami John Cernuto,
who actually plays a lot online, one of the pros who loves to play online.
Ace King.
I'm gonna raise it.
He's going to raise. And he'll raise 2,000.
Cernuto has been the most aggressive player at this table, pushing his hands.
And that forces a lot of people to push their hands into the muck. And Robert Rivetto takes a look. Doesn't like what he sees either. Back to Sundberg, whether or not to call the raise from Cernuto.
I'm all in.
All in.
Well,
he didn't have a whole lot left.
1350 more.
Yep.
Miami John will need 1,350 more to call the all-in from Chris Sundberg.
I think he will. And if for some reason he's short on chips, I'll lend him the money.
See 5 cards.
Sundberg bemoaning the fact he got a caller. And now the flop, and a set of 3s for Sundberg.
Not too many 3s, wow.
Miami John wanted to see 5 cards, Lon, but he didn't want to see a 3.
And now the turn card, a 9 of diamonds, and that actually wins the hand for Sundberg.
No win for me. Nice hand.
Well, Miami John's aggressive play doesn't pay off there, but I still think he mutters better than anybody else in poker.
Sundberg doubles up. Day 1 at the World Series is all about survival, and Scott Fishman is doing just that on the outer tables in his first main event.
Hey, look, he's multitasking. He can hold his breath and win a hand at the same time.
They trade those crew members so well. Another crew member, Dutch Boyd, not having as much fun as Scott Fishman. Dutch Boyd finished 12th in the main event last year. Right now he's up against newcomer Davin Anderson. Anderson with a couple of kings, and that's going to win the hand for him.
Yes! Wow. We're gambling!
Davin Anderson, one of our chip leaders today. Dutch Boyd is not. And the long day continues for our featured table players. Day 2 of round number 1. Action over to Bob Rivetto.
I'm sorry. Everybody up.
Long days.
Everybody up. Everybody up.
He's got an ace king. He'll call the big blind with 400 chips.
I got daydream out there. Getting late. You can tell it's getting late.
Here's your stat of the day, Lon. 5 of the 9 players at this table are wearing sunglasses. And to be honest with you, it is pretty sunny in here.
Well, Hollywood Tony, of course, is going to wear the sunglasses. And he'll fold. Over to Chris Ferguson, a 7-2 offsuit. We love this hand.
Well, he's in the small blind, and he's a little bored because he's going to play.
Sidney Feingold, Jack 2. He is the big blind.
There's that stylish 2-finger check. I'm going to pick that up.
3 to the flop. And it comes out. 10, Queen 8. Rivetto picks up a straight draw. Ferguson checks. Feingold checks, as does Rivetto. And the turn card, a 10 of hearts. Rivetto still leads with the ace high.
And Jesus making a move. And with the worst hand you can have in Hold'em, the 7-2 offsuit, he senses weakness elsewhere and is going to try to bluff his way to this win.
1,000 chips makes Feingold fold. Rivetto will call it.
Yeah, he got rid of one, but he didn't get rid of the other.
And the river card is a jack. Rivetto makes a straight.
Well, Jesus has a problem. It looks like he's going to bluff at this again. He bets 2,000. The other guy is not going to go anywhere. He's got very few chips, and he's got the straight. So Rivetto will call. Jesus will be caught trying to steal from the collection plate.
Rivetto flips his card, shows the winning straight to Jesus.
Good call, you got me. You got me.
And Jesus had to play that bluff all the way through to the end, I guess.
But at the end of a long day, he made a mistake. He picked a bad time and a bad spot against a man with very few chips.
I remembered in the book all those pocket aces you got, and you haven't had any I've seen tonight. So.
Well, if Hollywood Tony wants to survive Jesus and write the book, maybe it's best he just leave him be right now. There's a lot of poker left. Action on the outer tables. There you see John Juanda, who was at our featured table earlier today. He's got about 35,000 chips and going all in now with a couple of 9s, but he's in trouble, Norm.
And he won't know how much trouble it is until Lucy Rokash turns over her pocket aces. And he'll see he's in deep, deep trouble, and he's going to be leaving this tournament unless he can get a 9.
And now the flop comes. Ouch, another ace.
John all but dead, and now he is drawing dead on the turn with the 3 coming up. And she puts an unnecessary final nail in the coffin. 4 aces to knock out John Juanda.
And somehow I don't think this 3-time bracelet winner, John Juanda, was meant to win this hand against Lucy Rokash. Juanda gone from the tournament.
Sucks, have to wait another year, but, you know. Only one person can win the tournament.
The World Series of Poker presented by Miller High Life Main Event.
Very late in the evening here at the Horseshoe Casino. A number of players already knocked out, but Ray First is still alive, but he's all in here.
He's on life support line. He's got 8-7 offsuit against a pair of 4s.
Rafe is trailing with his tournament life on the line. Flop has come out. The turn is a king. No help to him. And the 2 of clubs is going to end this tournament for Ray First.
How long did it take for him to get knocked out this time?
About 10 hours.
Put it in your notes. I do it all the time.
Lasted longer than last year by quite a bit, so.
I guess if he brought a pillow, he did expect to last longer this year.
Back at our featured table, there is Hollywood Tony Caden, and he's about to make that prophecy come true. He said he'd survive the day against Chris Jesus Ferguson. We are on the last hand of the level. The day will end after this, and he's close to making it.
He is. And you look around, you see a very bedraggled group, tired from a very long, long day of poker.
With the table folding their hands over to Hollywood Tony. And what a way to go out. A couple of bullets in the hole. And he'll bet 1,200 to Ferguson.
Jesus is in the big blind with the king-queen offsuit.
The last thing we heard from Hollywood Tony, he was needling Chris about not getting aces. Now it's Hollywood who's got the aces in the hole.
Yes, Tony was needling Chris, but that won't influence Chris's play. He stays on a very even keel emotionally. He will call the bet.
So our flop will be Caden and Ferguson. And it comes out 5-8 king. Chris gets a pair of kings.
But he's still well behind in the hand to Caden's pocket aces. Caden's going to bet 3,000. Frankly, a bet that seems designed to induce a call from Jesus.
Anything more might have scared Ferguson away, and Chris will call. And now the turn card. It's a 4 of clubs, no help, and Caden still firmly in the lead and one step closer to taking a big chunk out of Chris Ferguson's stack. And he comes in with 7,000 chips.
It makes a bigger bet this time, but a bet that is, again, designed perhaps to have Jesus call. Jesus is going to think about calling. He's got top pair, a pair of kings right now. Doesn't know he's up against pocket aces. You know, I root from the press box, and I really want Jesus to get out of this hand, Lon, so I'm going to go down to the table and tell him to buck his cards. Do you mind?
Still king, queen.
I don't know why he double checks them. He's got the best memory of anyone I've ever met. He knows what they are. Don't
Chris,
do it, buddy.
he's reaching, and Chris Ferguson raises. And Hollywood, Caden comes right back all in.
So Caden will risk all his chips. He is a big favorite right now. If he just avoids a king or a queen on the river, he will be able to survive the day, survive Jesus, and go write the book, which I'm sure will be number 3 on the bestseller list.
Hollywood Tony and Chris Ferguson, 1 card to go. The river card is a king, and Ferguson wins it with 3 of a kind. Hollywood Tony, Caden knocked out, and he is stunned.
It took a miracle for Jesus to knock him out.
You got a story?
Yeah, there's my story.
Put it your
It's not the story he wanted to write, and as it turns out, Hollywood Tony Caden did not survive Chris Jesus Ferguson today.
I was waiting all night for that hand.
Be careful what you wish for.
On the last hand of a very long day, Hollywood Tony was this close to surviving.
Tony was talking the talk, but now he's going to have to walk a walk he didn't want to make.
And Chris Jesus Ferguson a lot healthier than he thought he would be. Day 2 was all about perseverance.
It's just a matter of survival.
Many of poker's elite are still in the hunt.
How's your boy?
As are some new faces that emerged from the
We didn't make it. Luck has been on my side all day long.
We said goodbye to people we knew, and some we never had time to know. We're one day closer to crowning a new world champion, but it's a long road, and right now anyone has a chance to win the big one. For Norman Chad, I'm Lon McCarran. See you next time for the World Series of Poker.
All right, see you guys next year. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.